Hi people, my name is Mo Fakorede. Hi people, my name is Mo Fakorede and I am a filmmaker and a film director, and you're watching ConsumerHalla TV. ConsumerHalla TV is everything consumer advocacy, consumer rights, everything that has to do with consumers. On this TV, you'd watch, you'd learn, be educated, and you'd be entertained. Keep watching. Good morning, Nigeria. Breakfast is served. Welcome to your favorite breakfast show on ConsumerHallaTV. This is Perspective, where we'll go behind the headlines to examine the issues shaping our economy and everyday lives. Miri Ayomikunle Iki.
And today on the program, we take a closer look at two major developments that could significantly impact Nigeria's economic future. First, Nigeria's livestock sector is gaining renewed attention as the private sector targets a $3 billion expansion. Thank you so much for joining us for Perspective this morning on ConsumerHalla TV. I'm Kiki Alomo Ajibola, and if this is the first time you're just seeing us, please follow us across all our social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, X, YouTube, ConsumerHalla, our TikTok account, ConsumerHalla TV. Welcome to Perspective this morning.
All right, let's go on a short break. We'll have this conversation and more. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Perspectives. And now to infrastructure and finance. We'll be talking about a conversation this morning about the House of Representatives on Tuesday yesterday approved the request of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to obtain a fresh loan of $560 million from the Deutsche Bank AG for the construction of the Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway project.
And the approval of the loan followed the presentation and consideration of a report from the House Committee on Aid, Loans and Debt Management, recommending the approval of the syndicated financing plan. The Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway is a flagship infrastructure project of the renewed Hope agenda designed to open Nigeria's northwest-southwest axis through the construction of an approximately 1,000-kilometer inland dual carriageway linking Sokoto State, Kebbi State, Niger State, Kwara State, Oyo State, Ogun State, and Lagos State, running from Ilela to Badagry.
Supporters say it could boost trade, reduce transport costs, improve the food distribution, and strengthen the national integration. But critics are raising concerns about borrowing transparency and long-term sustainability. So the big question remains, can Nigeria afford more debt? And will this project deliver the real value, and what does it mean for the average Nigerian? Joining us now is Dr. Samson G. Simeon, Chief Economist of Hack Economics and Data Limited. And we also have John Mark Chidebere Clement, the media strategist and leadership communication expert. Both of them will be joining us for a better explanation on this conversation this morning. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this conversation this morning.
Thank you very much, Candy. It is wonderful to be here.
All right, okay, let's begin with the big picture. How significant is the Sokoto-Badagry superhighway in terms of national development? Is this a transformative investment or an ambitious gamble?
I want to say hello, good morning to our viewers watching at home. And it's a wet Wednesday morning here in Lagos. And I want to start with the analogy. And again, to answer your question, imagine a trader in Sokoto who loads perishable tomatoes at dawn, hoping they arrive in Lagos before they spoil. Under current conditions, the journey takes nearly 13 hours. By the time the goods reach the market, losses have already started eating into profit margins. Imagine same journey taking 6 hours instead of 10. Fresh goods arrive on time, transport costs, like you said earlier, food prices stabilize, and new business opportunities open across regions. That is the promise behind Nigeria's Sokoto Badagry Superhighway. To answer your question, it's a very big gamble at this point in time.
Wow, that is absolutely a good illustration and a good analogy right there. Now, the government is seeking a $560 million loan for this project. And given Nigeria's current debt situation, is this financially prudent? Because this is not the first loan we are taking in the recent time. In fact, just last month or 2 months ago, we took a loan over $750 million. So this particular loan now, is this financially prudent, or what exactly are we doing?
Not financially prudent because as it stands now, it is a rising debt concern for Nigeria and Nigerians. The key debt indicators, according to the department MO data, as at December 2025, public debt in Nigeria is 159.28 trillion naira, which is about 110.97 billion US dollars. And the domestic, the debt per citizen is 724,000 naira, while the domestic debt is 53%, while external debt is 47%. So if you ask me, it is not a financial prudent capital project to embark on.
All right, talking about this conversation, because it's a national development, so all Nigerians, we all are concerned as far as this conversation is on right now. So for everyday Nigerians watching, what does taking on this kind of external loan actually mean in practical terms?
Well, taking up this capital project, and of course, you and I know that there is another one, which is the Lagos Calabar project, and again, moving on to this one at the same time is driving Nigeria into what we call boarding crisis. And as we speak, it is not going well for Nigeria because the last time I checked the Legatum Prosperity Index 2023, Nigeria is not even nowhere in the top 30 in Africa in terms of prosperity. So we have so much bothering us instead of going into social infrastructure like this kind. At this point in time, we have the likes of failure on governance. We have the economic instability, we have the insecurity that has been bedeviling the country. And again, we are just shying away from our shadows and taking loans and putting Nigeria into debt burden.
All right, that is a very, very good one because it is a conversation that we need to have. And as Nigerians, we have the right to know what exactly our government are doing and what issue we are running into. Now, infrastructure is often seen as a catalyst for growth, but Nigeria's experience have large-scale projects consistently delivered expected economic benefits. It's not just about to talk. What actually are we doing? So now our government needs to tell us, is this a talk and do situation, or is just another, oh, this is a good strategy, but the implementation, will it come out the way we want it to come out?
Well, just like I said before, the macro reality, Nigerians' development pressure at the moment. However, this project exists within a broader economic reality. Nigeria currently ranks 142nd out of 167 countries in the Legatum Prosperity Index. Like I said earlier, 2023, the last report reflecting weaknesses across key sectors. In health, if you may know, we are ranked 157 out of 167 in health. In economic quality, we are ranked 146 out of 167. And again, in education, we ranked 136 out of 167. Then infrastructure, just like this Sokoto Badagry Superhighway project, where it falls into, we are ranked 138 out of 167. Then in governance is 132. Why Nigeria performs relatively better in social capital and personal freedom, the broader indicators show development challenges. Now, this raises the critical questions. Can large-scale said solve structural weaknesses without deepening financial stress? The answer for me is a no-no.
Okay.
All right. When we're talking about this conversation, evaluation and transparency is much needed. And talking about this project, we're looking into $516 million. So what benchmark should Nigerians use to determine whether this project is worth the cost for the sake of evaluation and transparency?
Well, over the years, the Nigerian government have not been accountable to the citizens. And again, just say the House of Representatives, gave the nod for the federal government to go ahead to secure, they approve the President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu request for a 516.33 billion US dollar foreign loan to finance this. For me, I think the government over the years have not been accountable, and it is a source of concern for Nigerians.
So now you've spoken about the loan, but then let's look into the private sector, because even the former president of the Republic of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, spoke about private sector. I think that was day before yesterday or yesterday, how private sector will play a better role in some things that we take loan for, or in some infrastructure that are yielding, that they are not developing because of it's just being owned by private sector alone. So could this private sector have played a bigger role in financing this highway instead of relying on public borrowing every time?
The sector, if you ask me, just like we have the Dangote refinery, and you have seen the effects the Dangote refinery is having on Nigeria. Nigeria, as I'm using this as a case study, Nigeria as an oil producing country, and again, having a Dangote refinery, which is a private owned refinery in the country. And again, we have 3 or 4 state owned refineries that are not at the moment oil for the citizenry. And again, the people of the country, that is the citizens, are buying fuel, PMS, for at the rate of 1,300 in some cases, and up to 1,500. So, if you ask me, the private sector have not, really deem it fit to, augment for the lapses for the uh, state-owned infrastructure. So I think the government actually they know what they are doing, because we should have our own state-owned refineries working for the interest of the masses. Uh, Former president also former president Olusegun Obasanjo said,
That's right.
and I quote, that the state-owned refineries can no longer work, and you know what that means for a country as big as Nigeria and its citizens. So I wouldn't have, give my own verdict if the private sector would have been able to fund this project or not. But again, um, the bottom line is the debt profile of Nigeria keep increasing, and again, we have nothing to show we
For
are
it.
borrowing.
All right, I know, Mr. John Mark, I know directly or indirectly you've spoken about the economic pressure and what is meant to do to make sure all Nigerians are benefiting from this. And finally, if the execution has been successful, what should Nigerians expect to see in the next 5 to 10 years? And what risk could derail the project?
Okay, we have, of course, we're going to have the advantages and the disadvantages of this project. And again, it's a growth multiplier. It will improve logistics, increase GDP productivity, and trade expansion will generate future tax revenue, then long-term gains at short-term debt exposure. But again, on the other side, there are concerns concerning these super projects. And again, it's going to, just like I rightly mentioned, rising debt burden amid weak 3% and lack of competitive procurement transparency, which
Welcome back. Now let's move to the other part of the conversation this morning. Nigeria livestock sector is gaining renewed attention as the private sector. Nigeria livestock sector is gaining renewed attention as the private sector target a $3 billion expansion, raising hopes for improved food security, job creation, and agricultural transformation.
At the same time, we examine a major infrastructure proposal, which we just finished talking about, which is the Sokoto-Badagry Super Highway, as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu seeks approval for a $516 million external loan to fund key parts of the project. And the one we just concluded and this one right now raise critical questions about investment, sustainability, and long-term economic impact.
All right, so both this conversation, can strategic investment unlock the growth in agriculture and infrastructure, or are there deeper structural and financial risk Nigeria must confront? And now let's move forward. Let's talk about the livestock sector right now. And Nigeria livestock sector is fast becoming one of the most talked about frontiers for economic growth.
And recent reports show that the private sector is targeting $3 billion expansion in the livestock market, signaling renewed investor confidence in agriculture. This comes at above 30%, 20 million people facing acute food insecurity.
The livestock sector already contributes between 5 and 8% of GDP and support millions of livelihood, yet productivity remains low due to poor infrastructure, weak value chains, and limited financing.